YouTube, it's me, Lene, and I'm here with my labor and delivery. So if you guys see me looking at my phone, I have my notes here. Okay, so I had went to my doctor on the 12th, and he sent me to the hospital for my induction. But once I got there, they told me that on the piece of paper that he faxed them, only thing he said was that I was there for a non-stress test. So I ended up not being able to get induced that day because by the time they got in touch with the doctor that was going to deliver the baby, it was 2 o'clock, and he said that it was too late to start an induction. So he told me to come the next day at 6 in the morning, which was November 13th. So me and my husband, we went to the hospital at 6 in the morning, and they still couldn't do anything because they couldn't get in touch with my insurance people to get the approval to induce me. So the nurse was telling me, oh, they have to wait till 8 o'clock because that's when the office opens, so they can't do anything until 8 o'clock. But one of the receptions ended up getting in touch with my insurance people before then, and they told her, okay, just go ahead and start the induction process. So by this time, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning. So 7 o'clock, they put me in my room. I changed my clothes, put my gown on. They hooked me up to all the monitors. They checked me, and you guys know how I kept saying, oh, I think I'm dilated. I wish I knew. I want to know how far along dilated I am. And all that walking and everything that I was doing to make sure I was dilated, when they checked me, I was only dilated 1 centimeter. So I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe after all this walking and stuff, I'm only 1 centimeter. This is going to take forever. So I was thinking in my head like, oh, I'm not going to have her till either late in the middle of the night or early next morning. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a long process again like it was with my son. But it ended up not even turning out that way. Okay, so by this time, after they hooked me up to all the monitors and stuff and she checked me, it was about 8:30. And I had to do all the paperwork, sign all the paperwork and all that. So at 9:30, my nurse for that night, for that shift, came in and she asked me if I wanted to eat anything before she put in the Cervidil. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Cervidil or something like that. Before she put that in, because that has to stay in for 12 hours, and I can't eat anything, and I can't get up and go to the bathroom for a while. So the nurse asked me if I wanted to eat anything before they inserted the Cervidil. So I was asking her, I was like, well, once I eat, how long do I have to wait before you guys could put in the Cervidil? And she was like, oh, just, another 30 minutes. So I was like, okay. She was like, yeah, I think you need to eat something because you're going to be, if you're not going to have any strength by the time it's time for you to push, because you're not going to be able to eat anything for a long time. So I think they gave me a sandwich and some fruit and some juice, and I ate that and I drank the juice. And then they was, constantly giving me ice and water to keep me hydrated. So by the time they put in the Cervidil, it was close to 10 o'clock a.m. So that had to stay in for 12 hours, Cervidil. But it starts your contractions. But mind you, when I went in, I was already contracting on my own. The whole time I was there, all the night before, I was contracting on my own, but they was like too spaced apart and they wasn't very strong. But once I got to the hospital the next morning to be induced, I was still having the contractions, but they were still spaced out, and I could feel them, but they wasn't strong. Like, they wasn't strong enough to where if I would have went to the hospital on my own, they wouldn't have kept me because they were so spaced out. So they inserted the Cervidil, and she checked me again. She checked me again after she put in the Cervidil, and I was still 1 centimeter. So the contractions started getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, they were hitting me fast and hard. Like, she told me that, the nurse told me that sometimes the Cervidil doesn't work for every woman. She said sometimes it stays in the whole 12 and you don't dilate at all. She said for some women it works and some women it don't. So I'm like, oh my God, if this stays in me for 12 hours and I don't dilate, I'm going to be highly pissed. So, hours just was passing and passing and passing. So, at about, I have my notes, you guys, so that's why I keep looking at my phone. So, at about 5 o'clock, she came in the room. And she was like, do you feel them contractions? And I was like, oh, yeah. She was like, on a scale from 1 to 10, what's your pain? And by this time, I said, oh, it's like a 3 to 4. And she was like, oh, she said, because she said that I was really quiet. She said most women, either they're constantly pushing the buttons or you could hear them moaning or whatever. But she said that I was really quiet, so she couldn't tell if I was in pain or not. I said, yeah, well, my pain is about, I say a 3 or 4. She said, okay, let me check you. She said, because you're having contractions back to back, and on the monitor, she said they're really strong. But you're such a quiet person, she said, I can't tell if you're in pain or not. So at 5:10, she checked me, and I was 3 centimeters. And she was like, oh, good. She was like, it's working for you. So she called the doctor, and the doctor came in, and she asked me if I wanted epidural. She said because I'm progressing pretty fast, she said that if I wanted an epidural, she think I should get it now. Even though I was only 3 centimeters, she said I should get it now because I'm progressing pretty fast, and she said she don't want it to be too late, and then, I go really, really fast, and then I don't have time to get an epidural. So she called in the doctor. The doctor bust my water bag before I got the epidural. So my doctor came in at 5:30, and he bust my water bag. And after he bust my water bag, right after he bust my water bag, he checked me, and I was 4 centimeters and 80% effaced. So I got the epidural at 5:45. They gave me the epidural. And let's see. Okay, after I got the epidural, let's see, after I got the epidural, I couldn't feel anything. It numbed me like 10 minutes after I got the epidural. But I think by me getting it at 3 centimeters, by the time I got to 6 centimeters, I could still feel the pain. Like my legs, all this was numb. But I could still feel the contractions, and I could still feel pressure down here whenever I had a contraction. So the nurse checked me again at 6:15, and I was 6 centimeters dilated. So, at 6:15, sorry guys, it's all over the place because I have my notes here, but they're like out of order. And then my son is over here calling me in the background, completely messing this up. Let me see, I'm gonna do this over because